for me, it's just to break that traditional 9-to-5 job. For me, it's like an output of my creativity. You know, it's like sometimes it's parang too stressful, too toxic. You know, you're like sitting 9-to-5 on a desk. You know, like what else can I do? Sometimes yung brain mo parang di na gumagana. Like you really need to do something else. So like freelancing for me, it's just like that break from that job. Parang yun yung, it just makes me happy. Like every time it's new people, you meet new people. Basically, you meet new people. You have to challenge ka to do something else. Like it's not easy, to be honest. Yeah, it's like depende pa yan right? Like may mga models na they're easy to na make-upan, may mga models na talagang paano ba? Because they look different. Like everyone looks different. Everyone has different like facial structure. Like sa mata, their eyelids are different. Like so that's the challenge. And like especially pag models and then you have clients and your clients would like ask you to do specific looks. That's the challenge. You know, like hindi yun yung basic wedding glam or smoky makeup lang. You know, that's the one. That's the one thing that I like most, working freelance, because it's not just one look.
Freelancing for me it's everything because it allows me to be flexible. It allows me to make my own schedule. And overall, it's just really rewarding knowing that I built a business for myself from nothing. I think freelancing is different from other jobs because you truly get to decide how much you work, when you work, how much money you make, and it's all up to you. And you get to be the boss and you don't really have to answer to anyone, which is really great.
So being a freelance photographer is definitely a different life than I ever expected for myself. I think going the university route and then I think expecting that I would get a 9-to-5 as soon as I graduate at like a law firm or a big company. I think that was something that didn't stand out to me. And I think as a freelance photographer, what's interesting for me is I get to choose my schedule. I get to choose the work that I want to work on. And I feel like if I'm not working on the work that I'm interested in, I'm not producing the best. And freelancing is exciting for me because there's no one else to rely on but me. I'm trying to be the best at what I do, and the only person stopping me is me.
It's another source of income for me. It's yun yung way para, again, to put your creativity in yung dun sa paraan na gusto mo, hindi dahil you work with like a company with like specific rules. You know, it's like you can do whatever you want, like, and you can work on the times that you want to. That's I guess it's your own business.
And I think a lot of people think that freelancing isn't a real job, and especially within, I think, the Filipino community or within like immigrant families, they don't see freelancing as a full-time job, but it really is something that can be sustainable and that you can live off of. And there's this starving artist stereotype, but I think that's completely untrue because especially in the day and age that we live in with social media being so prominent, there are so many people who have created jobs for themselves who are freelancers.
I guess for me, it's the competition. Competition in terms of like, there are so many makeup artists, not like in Toronto. There's a lot of freelance makeup artists who travels too. And then it's just the way they promote themselves. Like big companies like Fancy Face, there's a lot of makeup groups. They get their clients. The clients that they get are like super sikat say models, brands, or kahit wedding makeup lang eh. So it's just a matter for me, yung pinaka-struggle yung humanap ng clients, the people you know, and you just need to keep promoting yourself, right? And that's one thing. Because sa akin, part-time lang nga siya. I do have my 9 to 5, but I still try to keep up with promoting myself, like updating my Instagram or my Facebook, posting photos, kahit minsan recycled photos na lang siya, because you don't have, not that you don't have the time, but there's less time pag you try to work freelancing in a full-time job, I guess that's just one thing. Plus, yung industry of events and, because ngayon sobrang dami na nagpa-package eh. Let's say you get a photographer and then, I know this makeup artist. So parang napapackage tuloy sila eh. That's another thing that I notice. Yeah. So that's that.
I think the biggest struggle of freelancing is finding community, because when you start freelancing, you might find that your friends and your family may not support or understand what you do. So it might feel really lonely or isolating when you first start out freelancing, but I think now that we have social media, it's super easy to find people who are doing the exact same thing as you.
There are so many struggles being a freelance photographer or just a freelance artist in general. One of the big things I think off the top of my head is, you don't know where sometimes, your money's coming from or how consistent the money comes if you're not working contract to contract. The hours are different. Obviously, it's not like you go to a place 9 to 5, and sometimes the work that I do, happens at 10 p.m. And I don't get home until 1 or 2, and then sometimes the deadlines are a little bit tighter, so sometimes I'm up a little late. And I think some of the struggles as a freelance photographer comes from trying to take care of myself. The wellness part of it, trying to make sure that I'm healthy, and because, there's no benefits package that a company can offer you. So making sure that I have a routine or I have some things in place to take care of myself, and so that I'm able to produce the best work I can. Some of the struggles for me personally is, sometimes your family don't always support you the way you would expect or you would want them. And I think that's big for Filipinos, especially for Filipino families. You always, or especially for Filipino immigrant parents who come here, and they have this idea and expectation of how their kid should be and what they should be doing. And so they can, call their family members in the Philippines and tell them, look what my kid is doing here. I think they expected a different life for them. And to see their kid struggle, especially in the first little bit, the first year or two was really a struggle financially, but also with them. They don't understand, how do I have a university degree and then decide not to pursue it in your career? And I think that was one of the biggest struggles that I still go through with them.
Yung disadvantage niya, like what I said, kung hindi ka nga super active, or if you don't do it every week or every, let's say 2 weeks, if you don't get the clients, talagang wala eh. Talagang hindi mo mahahabol yung compared dun sa ibang mga freelancers na talagang every week, every weekend, or talagang halos say for me, for weddings, parang every month may wedding sila. How do I do that? Where do they get their clients? You ask yourself talaga every time bakit kahit anong market ko sa makeup page ko or kahit anong word of mouth na nga lang eh. Like, bakit ang tagal? Like, bakit hindi consistent pa? Yon. That's, for me, the struggle din. And talagang sobrang dami ng makeup artists, yung competition na lang talaga. Yeah, and then they work with like event planners. So, yun nga, again, the package deal of like a makeup artist and a photographer, like in that one.
One of the disadvantages of being a freelancer, I think, is being your own boss. And I don't think that's really a disadvantage. It's just a challenge that I think a lot of people underestimate when they say that they want to work for themselves. Because a lot of the time, you are one person doing the job of maybe like 5 to 10 people. You have to close sales, you have to market for yourself, you have to talk to clients, you have to do all of the invoicing and accounting and all of that stuff. So I think it's a really difficult challenge to overcome at first, but if you can get over that step, then I think you can be successful as a freelancer. So when I was growing up, my parents, they really taught me how to be independent, and I really carried that mentality throughout my teens and to now as an adult. And I think in a weird way, they kind of prepared me to become a freelancer, even though they might not know that and realize that. And so when I started my blog when I was in school, it was kind of just a hobby, and they saw that as a hobby. But then when I quit school and I got a job and I started pursuing the creative stuff more seriously, they were like, oh, okay, this is getting real now. And it was a really gradual transition. So I don't think they were shocked when I said I wanted to do photography full time. But I was also fully prepared for them not to support the idea. But luckily, they are as supportive as they can be, and I'm really grateful for that.